picking patterns, we've got a lot of room for interpretation here. The strict picking pattern that a lot of gypsy players use is similar to, of course, the classical, where the old thumb was like this and would go down like this. I'm using a heavy pick here. We'll talk about picks on another video, but on this particular video I'm using the pick, and I have my hand kind of almost like that, kind of, where you, some people say that like you're flicking a match. It's not an absolute desideratum that you do that, but on your picking, usually you're slightly back between, at the end of the sound hole, and between that and the bridge, depending on the tone you're looking for. In this regard, the rest stroke going from string to string is obvious. Now, you're not going to be able to do that always, so I'm not one of those persons that would say you have to always do it that way. I think you should do whatever works. That's the idea. Django did whatever works, and whatever it came out as, that's what people think they should do, but basically he did whatever worked. And most good guitar players do that. So when you're doing let's say you're picking like this, I just played a major scale there. Now I played down, up, down, up, down. Then I went down again on the next string. Up, down. Depending on the fingering that you use for your scales, your picking will vary. If you were to do a 3-note per string scale like this, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, that type of thing where you have 3 notes per string, you're always going to have a downstroke on your, when you go to the next string. However, if you're doing even and odd numberings on your fingerings, then no, you're not necessarily always going to do a downstroke. You're going to try to do a downstroke whenever possible, but it's not going to always be possible unless you force yourself to do that. And I would recommend not doing that. I would recommend allowing the pick to go naturally on an upstroke or a downstroke, depending on what you have to do. So basically, picking patterns depend on the patterns you're using in the scales you're playing, or the arpeggios you're playing, or whatever pattern you're playing. Okay? So like I just said, if I were doing this particular pattern, I think if you can see my left hand here, as opposed, let me try this again. I'll see if you can see this. You can see that I've got 2 notes here on this string, followed by 3 notes in this string, 3 notes in the next string. Well, when I go down, up, the next string is going to be down. Down, up, down, and then I'm going to go down again. Down, up, down. But if I were to start that with an upstroke, up, down, I would go to the downstroke on this string as well. Down, up, down, down, up, down. Depends on how you want to start your picking. But the picking patterns will depend, like I said, on the scale patterns and on whatever pattern you've used. Let's say you were using something like this. Now that's just E minor triad, E minor arpeggio. If I use the 7th note, which would be D, if I went, so that's a 4-note thing. If I went this way, it's an obvious, let me show you my picking again. It's obvious that I'm going to be doing downstrokes. They call that sweep picking Some people do. Now what if I go and I hit that next note? The next note was an upstroke. So what about coming back down? Am I going to go down? Am I going to go down, up, down? Let's see if I can get my picking hand over here so you can see. Am I going to go down, 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 up? Oops. Up. I did that wrong, I think. Down, 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 up. Am I going to go down on this one? Down, up, down? That's kind of a weird... What about this? No, I went down, 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 up, down, up, down. If I don't think about it and I just play, I'm doing that sweep thing, followed by a upstroke, and if I come back down, up, down, up, no, it doesn't feel right. Depends on the person, you know. If you're playing a certain way for a long, long time, you may have developed a certain habit, and it may be a good habit or a bad habit. Depends on whether or not it's slowing you down and whether or not you're fumbling when you play. I fumbled there a little bit because I can't talk and play at the same time. Can't chew gum and walk. So, I did an upstroke there. But so if I was playing this line descending, I would look at that, I actually did up, down, down, up. Weird. No, I didn't. Down, up, down, 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 up, down. Ah, I see what I was doing. Up, down, down. That's what I was doing. That's my peculiar habit. Yours might be different. So anyway, if you're playing, there's an arpeggio, down, 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 all downstrokes. That's a D minor 7 arpeggio. I did all downstrokes. If I come back, I went up, down, up, up, down. Again, you're going to have to make that judgment call for yourself on the picking patterns. But let's just say that the Gypsy Jazz picking pattern is mostly rest strokes, mostly downstrokes. And they do that because, out of habit actually, but it's basically also gives you a louder tone and more volume there. But you could incorporate this with other picking styles, and you should incorporate it with other picking styles. You don't want to be locked into one particular thing. So use the fingering patterns that I've mentioned elsewhere, but use them in conjunction with the picking pattern. And look at your picking patterns depending on the fingerings that you're using, okay, for the scales. We can talk about scales and scale patterns elsewhere in another video. But for now, this is the picking pattern that you can think about using, okay? Use what works.